Good afternoon, everyone. We'll get started in a little bit. Look forward to speaking with you guys today. Thanks to you guys for joining. We'll be getting started in 2 minutes. I'm going to allow everyone to talk if you'd like and ask a question. It's a little easier than always having to monitor chat. So if you guys want, just unmute and I'll be happy to stop the presentation and present our clarify a point. Get started in 1 minute. All right, welcome everybody to today's CEU. We're going to cover the Better Materials Program and how the ecomedes platform supports the work the GBCI and GBCI have done to simplify and streamline LEED. So without further ado, we'll get started. My name is Paul Shariari. I'm the founder and chief innovation officer here at ecomedes. I've spent the last 25 years in the built environment, primarily focused on sustainability. I used to be a faculty member with the U.S. Green Building Council. Did that for 5 years and got a chance to meet about 15,000 people around the world and train folks on a wide variety of LEED topics. In the last 15 years or so, most of my career has been focused on building technology and software to make building decision-making easier. And that's what we're going to kind of cover a little bit today on how the platform that we created simplifies and streamlines LEED, both for the project teams, the owners and the manufacturers, the distributors, and all the people in between to go find the data and automate as much of the consulting. I spent my first 10 years in the space on being able to do that. We have permitted you guys to talk. If you'd like to, just unmute yourself or use chat or any of those other features that are in there. I'm going to open up Q&A so I can see it all. So I apologize by not looking at the screen for a couple seconds, but use chat questions or just raise your hand and I'll be happy to answer any questions along the way. There's a lot of detail that we're going to cover really quickly. So let me know how I can help. We will be recording this, so I'll be sharing that out at the end of the presentation. If you could stay muted during the presentation, unless you have to ask a question, that'd be great. Please enter any questions in the chat, and then we're going to have one general CEU available at the end of this course, and I'll send you follow-up email to everyone that's on the call today. They'll have the video and the details on how to self-report the one CEU for finding and selecting better materials. So I have a pre-presentation poll question I'd like to start with you guys. It gives me a little bit of background on who you guys are, what you focus on in your work. So you should see that right now. How often do you search for sustainability data related to LEED in your work? How many hours would you say you spend searching for eco data when working on an entire LEED project from start to finish? And then on a scale of 1 to 4, how difficult is it to search, find, organize, and document LEED compliant product specifications? So love to get that information before we get started. Take a couple minutes. That'd be very helpful for me. to better understand where you guys are at in your journey. Thank you for those of you that are jumping in. That'd be really helpful. Wow, a lot of you. All right, cool. Thank you so much for that. I'll give you guys another 30 seconds and then we'll get started. Appreciate the details.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, my name is Isabella. I'm from Brazil, and here I work with Petinelli. It's a consulting enterprise.
Okay.
So we work with LEED projects, and I'm starting to see a little bit more of materials category.
Yeah.
And for us, it's a bit hard to find materials here that have the EPDs, the documentation, and normally we find international products,
Yeah.
but they are not available here, or we have difficult to find national um, products that have this material. So it would be really nice to see how I can find these products, how can I apply here,
Yeah.
which one I can use, if the platform can give me the materials that I can use in Brazil, it would be really nice. So that's my goal here today.
Great, wonderful. I will definitely try to address that, show you guys how the database does that. It is still a bit of a journey for international projects to find international homegrown products that have gotten a high level of sustainability or transparency data. EPDs, HPDs, some of the newest ones that are out there. It's still kind of a growing concern here to get enough manufacturers to give us the data, but certainly international projects face a little bit of, I'll share with you guys a little bit of the journey that we have with a couple of our clients that we serve as a manufacturing platform, and we'll be able to kind of cover that. So really quickly, you guys gave me great information about, how often you guys look for data, daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. Some of you guys are spending less than 20 hours, some are spending 50 to 100 hours. And it's generally not as easy. Nobody answered that it's easy to go find this information. And to Isabella's point, that is a bit of a journey. So I'm going to share with you guys a little bit how we wanted to make this easier. And I'll start off by telling you how the US GBC decided and GBCI started this program of better materials in the beginning. So the objectives, we're going to cover how the US GBC created their better materials platform, why they did it. We'll showcase a new program too that's called Verified for LEED, where USGBC and GBCI will verify manufacturer data preemptively and then kind of give it the check or the stamp of approval from a review team that says this material has been reviewed for the details that provided. Then we'll review some credits that cover the product transparency requirements for the Better Materials program, primarily in the materials and resources and indoor environmental quality sections. And then finally, I'll show you how the free platform that we have at ecomedes allows you to discover building materials that already have been pre-vetted to meet project sustainability goals, both for LEED and other rating systems, conduct a quick comparison of a couple products, analyze energy and water impacts for building materials, and then ultimately get documentation generated for an entire LEED project at once. So we're going to cover that today in our 1 hour together. So the Better Materials program started out with three main mission statements at the USGBC. They wanted to accelerate, simplify, and scale. And I agree with all three of these elements. Is what I've tried to do with all the technology and the startups I've worked on. Is I want to make it easier to do more of this. When I started in this industry, I wasn't married, didn't have kids. Now both of my children are in college, and both my daughters are literally one generation since I started this journey. And I always wonder, is the planet, is the built environment any greener as a result of the efforts that I have? And I think one of the biggest constraints of us to scale this solution, to scale LEED, to scale the greening of the built environment is just that it's not very simple. It's very complex. And what we want to share with you is how the USGBC decided to make it a little bit more simple. So the industry challenge before the Better Materials program was that GBCI needed data. We needed to submit it. So project teams were the ones that submitted it to GBCI. And the way that project teams got data is a bunch of different ways. And this diagram I've mapped out before for other clients. And on typical projects, you have about 10 to 15 people that are in the architecture, engineering, specification, construction / consulting phase. And they're going to go out and look at about 150 different product categories. And that generates about 1,500 or so PDFs and documents and lots of emails and going back and forth. And the product manufacturers are part of that. The distributors that sold you the products, maybe through a subcontractor or trade contractor, are in there. And then there's a lot of other websites that are out there that are designed to help you find some of this data. But it was a very repetitive process. And when the GBCI commissioned some research, they said on average, a project team has to at least access at least 25 pages of product documentation and interpret up to 45 parameters for every single product that was coming into a green project. And when you look at LEED and WELL and low beam building challenge and all those other elements, it's very, very confusing to always have to be sifting through all that information, all that documentation. So what they said is, what if it was easier where the project team could go to the GBCI Better Materials program and the GBCI portal of Better Materials actually submitted those search queries to all these different sites. And that way the product manufacturer could submit their data to one or many of these sites like ours, and then have it easier to be found by the project teams looking for that data and make it less repetitive and allow that review to happen either at the unit level or at the entire manufacturing level. So the idea was to make it simple, no difference in this kind of like GBCI to these different search engines is kind of like how we've probably gotten used to traveling, right? You'll go to a single site and say, I want to go from here to there. And you have Yelp and Expedia and Travelocity to choose from, or go to Yelp looking for different restaurants. We've made a lot of our things in our lives over the last 20 years a lot easier, but with sustainability, it's a very, very still complicated type of work. So what the GBCI and USGBC wanted to do is to simplify that and make it a little bit easier to find the data. So they work very similar to like Expedia or whatever you are using for travel. Is that there's a Better Materials URL, bettermaterials.gbci.org. You type in your query like chairs, and what happens is that input box will basically open up a bunch of different websites like ours. UL Spot is also there, Origin, Building Material Scout, and Sustainable Minds. And what we do as technology providers and partners of the GBCI and USGBC is we want to give you back the results as quickly as possible. Not all the results are exactly the same because some of the group partners are just pure technology companies. Some are certification bodies. Some are program operators for EPDs. You know, we have a different set of criteria that we result back, but nonetheless, it's a lot faster for you guys to find the results as opposed to hunting and pecking what I call the sustainability scavenger hunt. Again, I've been in this for about 25 years. In the first 10 years of my life, all I did was scavenger hunt for data, whether it was ROI data, Energy Star data, WaterSense data. When I first started in this space, I needed about 10 pieces of information to make a better decision on a product, on a project, and I could submit all the LEED documentation with about 10 different attributes. At ecomedes now, we track over 3,000 independent eco performance data attributes across about 8,000 manufacturers and cover about 800,000 products. So we automate all that so that nobody ever has to do that work again. So again, I feel that simplification, just like the USGBC believes, will make more people be able to do this work. So another thing that they did too is they ended up creating a pilot called Verified for LEED, where they, the GBCI, will review on behalf of a manufacturer all the data that's at the end of these like scavenger hunts. They'll look at the EPD and say, yes, this qualifies for 1 or 2 or 3 points. This is the off-gassing certificate, low emitting materials. This meets the requirement. This has recycled content, therefore it's on circularity. They tried to create a platform, still in the pilot phase yet. They haven't kind of fully rolled it out yet, but a lot of manufacturers that participate in the platform said that it was good to do that because now they had a piece of documentation directly from GBCI telling the project teams or the specifiers, here are all the points that this product qualifies for. So we'll cover that when we do the live demo in the platform because we have all those products in there. But the contributions have been evaluated and indicated by a GBCI review team, and you don't have to have the worry that you might not have picked the right product. So the Better Materials program that we're going to cover today, we're going to look at credits, and I'm going to show you how the Better Materials platform lives on our site. It's called materialsforleed.ecomedes.com. It's free for anyone to use. If you have 2 windows open or browsers open, you can actually just open up that URL and you can kind of follow along right in the tool. But Materials for LEED is free. Anyone can use it. It helps brands position their data. It also helps project teams find the data and ultimately makes everyone's job easier when you have to go run LEED calculations. Every product on materialsforleed.ecomedes.com has been pre-evaluated to make sure 1 or more of the LEED requirements in credits have been met, and that data has come from another third party or the manufacturer directly. It's updated on a monthly basis. So it has over 250,000 compliant products in any given time frame. So it's a free website. Anyone can use it. It's free. You can create as many programs, platforms, procurements, projects as you want. We curate only things that meet LEED requirements preemptively. Certification eco-label database is updated monthly directly from the source data like UL or SCS or Cradle to Cradle or EPDs. It allows you to do very quick, simple product search and discovery, allows you to do apple to apples comparisons of product data. You say you look at 3 different pieces of carpet, you can actually see all the data lined up so that you don't have to do any of that spreadsheet work like you typically have to do if you're highlighting PDFs. You can do quick product evaluation for LEED, what credits you've achieved, could achieve, how you've achieved them. There's some ROI and energy water calculators built in. We'll show you kind of lighting example and a plumbing example. And then you can roll up any product data you find along the way in your journey in the platform. And you say, add it to my project, add it to my project. The only thing you need to do is have an account so that we know where on the server to save those products that you've addressed and found along the way. And there's a little project management dashboard I'll share with you. You can create as many project and product evaluations as you want. There's no limit. Share with whoever you want. If you're an architect writing specs, you can send links directly out of the tool to your contractor to make sure they're picking drywall with an EPD or plumbing fixtures that are water sense. So it's very, very straightforward. And again, it's what we're going to cover today. So the credits that we're going to cover, we're going to go through first the requirements. So I'm going to kind of show you, these are the things on your scavenger hunt, and then I'll show you how the tool does the scavenger hunt for you so you don't have to go hunting down the information. So the 4 credits that we're going to cover are the materials and resource credit related to environmental product declarations, EPD, like Isabel started out talking about in the beginning of the call, sourcing of raw materials, material ingredients, and an indoor environmental quality. We'll talk and we'll finish up on the low emitting materials credit. And then we'll talk about a live demo and we'll go right into the tool. So without further ado, we will show you this at the beginning. The verified for LEED program is the first filter at the top of our tool. It allows you to find things, again, that have been pre-vetted by the GBCI in building finishes, furniture, construction materials, doors, and windows. So 15 manufacturers participate in this pilot. They're all listed right here, so you can find that data right there. And it's everything from Anderson Windows to Human Scale and Hayworth, MyPay, Mecco, Milliken, Prosco, Ropey, Shaw, Sherwin-Williams, and Wellspun. So they presented the data, the GBCI reviewed it, and all that information is aligned with the LEED v4 and LEED v4 1 standards. So these are all signified by a little green circle around their what we call the baseball card of data. So without further ado, we'll go into the credit. So the first credit, many of you guys have been on the scavenger hunt looking for EPDs. Here, 20 different products out of an entire project have to come from at least 5 different manufacturers that meet one of the disclosure method criteria below. And it gets kind of into the weeds, but it's a life cycle assessment meeting ISO standards or a product specific EPD or an industry-wide specific EPD. Those count for 1 product. If you have better, deeper information on your EPD, you get more cradle to gate scope. You can actually get up to 1.5 product points. And I know that when the USGBC creates their own math equations, I always start to get a little scared because, how does the product actually count for more points? So a lot of times, vendors, especially and manufacturers, sometimes have a hard time kind of confirming that's data out in the marketplace, but just know that, a certain kind gets you 1 product credit towards that 20. This one would count 1.5 products towards that 20. And then there's a way to optimize that, and you can get up to 2 points or 2 products counting for a single product if you've gotten a reduction 20% below the GWP number. So a lot of kind of wonky detail. Luckily for you, what we've done is we've actually gathered up all the products in the database that already meet the EPD LCA guidance. It tells you within the brackets next to every one of these results how many products meet those guidelines. So in this case, this search of LCA and EPD gives you about 30,000 results. I know the results are small. When we do the live demo, you'll see it better. But every one of the data eco labels that drives this program are all evaluated, and you always see how many in brackets, how many products have met that requirement. So you can then further refine the search and say, I'm looking for a specific category of products like furniture or paint or flooring or a grout or a tile installation element. And these, again, are all green because they are all part of the verified for LEED program. So not only is the EPD LCA data there, all of these actually have a green bar on there because they have the verified for LEED documentation stamp. So that's already been approved. You already have all the data that you want, but it's very quick to be able to sort through all the information. You can then further, in this case, sort by kind of EPD. So if you want industry-wide, product-specific, cradle to gate, all that kind of extra details available to you in the search on the left-hand navigation. It's very much organized. Like if you shop on eBay or Amazon, it's designed to be very, very similar to that. So it's easier for you guys to go through the workflow. Let's go on to the next credit, sourcing of raw materials. So there's 2 points available here. Here you got to go by cost of the total value of permanently installed building products. So in our system, you can put in the quantity unit price. So cost is available, and you got to go to either 15% or 30%. So that's how you get to 2 points. And here there's a bunch of different ways to document that compliance: extended producer responsibility, bio-based from USDA bio-preferred, wood products are FSC or USGBC equivalent, materials use or recycled content. Again, that's a pretty daunting scavenger hunt. It's been that way since the beginning of my work in this space in the early 2000s. And here you have all of bio-preferred available to you. Everything that's FSC certified in our database is highlighted, and then recycled content data is available too. We just recently signed a contract with the EPA. We're going to be launching the EPA's recycled content database. So that data will flow in once we have all that data launched live and publicly available. That'll flow right into this platform. So as the data updates, the bio-preferred data, the FSC data, and the recycled content data is always being updated by the source of that data. You have a monthly refresh, and every product that has one or more of these characteristics is available to you with one click. You can further refine it by what category you're interested in, or what CSI division, or what brand you're looking for. So if you typed in like Herman Miller or Interface or Armstrong Ceilings, only their products that meet these guidelines would pop up, and then you can go further searching for products that you might want to throw in your project. The next credit deals with ingredient reporting. So here, similar kind of credit as the EPD one, 20 different permanently installed products from at least 5 different manufacturers that meet one of these many ANSI BIFMA level 3, cradle to cradle, declare, facts, global green tag, a health product declaration, a living product challenge product, a manufacturer inventory that's publicly available, or a product lens certification. So many of these we already have in our database. So again, with one click on the left-hand nav under certificates and eco labels, you can actually find everything that meets those guidelines. And it tells you again in those brackets how many products we have that are going to meet that guideline. So C2C has 832, 16 of which achieved the material health designation, 9,400 that are declare, 33,000 have an HPD, 135 that are living product challenge. And if some of these have different levels of themselves, like cradle to cradle has platinum to bronze, you can actually further refine that with further granular searching on the left-hand now. So again, it's made to make it super easy for you to find the data. All this is being updated on a minimum on a monthly basis. And again, a wide variety of products meet these guidelines across things like drywall, tile, even things like toilets have some of this data available to you to make a better decision. And then the last element under materials ingredients would be optimization. Here they're asking for material ingredient screening, C2C material health certificate, declare red list free, LBC red list free, HPDs that are optimized and verified, a living product challenge certified, REACH, and PhD from Global Green Tag. Same kind of idea. Left-hand navigation lets you click those buttons, filter on all the results. I think there's 7,000 results active for these 4 designations. So all that data is, again, updated, refreshed. Every brand that has provided this data publicly, it's like saving you a bunch of time and effort. So hopefully those hours that folks shared with us at the beginning of the poll, these are all going to be automated for you. And again, the data is available underneath it. And then finally, the last credit before we go into a live demo would be the low emitting materials credit. Here, depending on how many product categories you've covered with this low emitting material coverage, 2 product categories equals 1 point, 3 product categories equals 2, 4 equals 3. And if you get to 5, you'll get 3 points plus exemplary performance. So here, the same kind of idea. You're going to go out looking for data around VOCs, formaldehyde emissions, and then within certain product categories, specific rules like South Coast Air Quality Management District, flooring, wall paneling, ceilings, insulation, furniture, they all have their own designations for what a low VOC product is. And again, we're going to serve that up for you very quickly. BIFMA, UL Green Guard Gold, SCS Indoor Advantage Gold. There's several thousand, I think over 66,000 products in our database that meet one of these 3 guidelines. And again, further refinement based on, you might be in charge of interior design, someone else might be doing architecture. If those products have achieved those certifications, all of those products are in the system. You can just start choosing from it. Most of the time you want to refine 60,000 results. You don't want to go clicking through them by baseball card. You can then say, I'm looking for a brand, a CSI category, or a subcategory of kind of natural language search. So with that, I'm going to stop and see if there's any technical questions on the various LEED credits. And then if not, we can go diving right into a live demo of the platform. So I'll stop for a second. I'll make sure everyone can talk if they want to talk. All you need to do is unmute yourself. I think I've done that for everyone in the list. So feel free to raise your hand, put it in chat. I don't see any open questions or chat, but if I don't hear any, I suggest if you can, go to just materialsforleed.ecomedes.com and check out the live portal as I kind of give you guys a live demo, unless there's any other questions. So this is the site. Again, it's available to anyone. It works good on an iPad or a computer. On the phone, it's not designated to be mobile friendly, so you'll have a little bit of trouble using it on the phone, although I have used it in a pinch when I was out looking for a refrigerator that broke in our house, and my wife sent me to Home Depot and she said, go get a fridge. And I was just a dork about it and wouldn't get one unless I knew it was a top of Energy Star. So I kind of used it on my phone. So very straightforward. Sign up is right here. So if you just type in whatever name you want to use, it'll remember you every time you log in. One sign up will work on any of our ecomedes platforms. We have a main platform called products. We have platforms for the GSA. We have platforms for architecture, engineering, and construction companies, but all of them are designated off of the same general structure, and one single sign-on through Google will let you sign in across the board. Once you've created an account, just email address and name, it'll allow you to have an account, and then that account, and I'll kind of start in reverse, that account lets you save work. So here's all the projects I have on my materialsforleed.ecomedes.com platform, all my LEED jobs, and it tracks everything that you've done on every project, and it actually gives you a little bit of a roll-up. One of the things I always got asked was like, well, how much energy and water has all your consulting hot air resulted in? And I said, well, I wish I had that running total of what my impact was. And that's one of the first things we built in this tool, is that every project ends up rolling up into whatever that impact is. So in this case, I'll just kind of show you what a project looks like. You just build out some basic notes, kind of like what it is, where it is at, what zip code, how many square feet, just some basic information. So at the top of your report, it'll print out, not too fancy, but just enough to kind of make sure you know what thing is. And then every one of the products that I came across that I liked for this project, I can just grab and throw it in here. And then I just need to go in here and adjust whatever the units are, and then whatever the unit square footage is. So I'll kind of go in there and kind of show you how quickly that can be done. So say I was just in the tool and I found this Tarkett product. I liked it because it was made in America. It had California 1350, green label, EPD, and the ANSI 140 standard. And every one of the data points in our tool, when you hover over the actual data, here's like the description of the data, and then here's the actual data, will show you who gave us the data and how long it's valid for. So in this case, it's going to send you to an NSF certificate, but this was provided by NSF. And with one click, rather than going out on a 18-click scavenger hunt, you'll see this NSF 140 gold certificate. If you wanted their EPD, click a button, here's their EPD. If you wanted this green label plus certificate, same thing, it'll generate all that data for you live. Got a question, so I'm going to answer that question real quickly. So can we provide a summary sheet from the ecomedes stating that a project has met specific criteria, or do we need to provide the summary sheet along with the EPD? This product has been used a lot by project teams. I think over 1 million documents have been generated since we started the company, either at this kind of level where it just says, this is all my data. So if I PDF this, all those hyperlinks remain active. So if I were to send this to somebody, they could actually have it. It date stamps it and tells you who it's from. The other way to do it is actually you can go in here and say, I want to run a calculation, which I'll show you in a second, and I'll actually take all this data and run it against LEED and give you kind of a detailed breakdown. We've never had anyone have to go out and click on all these links and PDF those things. Usually this seems to be good enough. Plus, when you're submitting this at a project level, this is going to be coming with letterhead that says basically this came from the Materials for LEED program, and that's, we're partners with the GBCI. So again, I've never had anybody on the manufacturing side ever say their data got kicked back, and I've never had an architect say they didn't evaluate this. So here's all these product data sheets, probably at least 100 sub sheets underneath it, and all I have to do to go to the bottom is just click on whichever version of LEED you care about, and you can add as many as you want and hit evaluate, and our system basically goes, interrogates all the data on all these little product sheets in ecomedes. It gives you a total cost of the project, and then down below tells you every single credit in every version of LEED that you've contributed to at a project level. And then down below, it'll actually give you the cut sheet for this data. All those other hyperlinks are all active. So that will kind of capture all that data for you. And it'll break down exactly how and why the various credits we just covered in building product disclosure, and then source of raw materials, material ingredients, low emitting, all those things will be there. And then you see this little breakdown. It'll actually tell the user or the verifier exactly why we gave the 136,000 out of a extended price of 425,000. The recycled content value is only 136. So we've done all the math for you. So when I built this tool, I had a year sabbatical and I was just like, this is too complicated. I don't want to keep doing this boring work as much for the rest of my life. So my daughter were young and I was traveling a lot. I was like, what if I could just make it easy for everybody? And that's what our kind of gift to the marketplace is ecomedes does all this nitty gritty documentation that you probably have better things to do with, right? So we'd love to have you guys spending more time on the more important things. So Gatherings 1350 is yes, it's got green screen, it's got living product declare, and this is for every single product in the entire project that I dumped in there. So if you just want to download that PDF, it'll generate a PDF in the cloud. It'll date stamp it, source stamp it. They'll tell whoever's reviewing it that this came off of this website. And that's all done for you automatically. So what's nice is it really streamlines a lot of that effort. But I'll kind of go back to the beginning and kind of start off what you guys would want. Here's a PDF. It generates it, gives you a date stamp and a time stamp, and then all the other documentation is there, and including all those hyperlinks. So anything that had a hyperlink out to some other data source, you'll be able to go in there and check that out and see where that data came from, where it came, where it needs to go, and then provides hyperlinks if someone ever wants to go after and get it. So the easiest way to search is right up here, verified for LEED. So those product manufacturers are listed right there. Any of the ones that are active are right there. So a couple of them are right there with one click. You can go find their data. So if we're looking for, say, MAPE, here's all their verified data. Click on one of the product sheets. Here's all the information, their EPD, green square, and SCS Indoor Advantage. But the LEED summary sheet is right there. And this is what the GBCI reviewed. So they took in that data that we had on those hyperlinks, and they're the ones that deemed whether or not it met the requirements, put in some document ID, some like kind of back of housekeeping stuff. But all that information is available, and then it lets you know that they've validated it. And here's your LEED summary sheet in comparison to all the other stuff that's there. But all those other hyperlinks remain active and dynamic, so you can go and not have to go on a big long scavenger hunt. So all the verified for LEED stuff is identified with a top filter. You can then take out a brand filter and they'll go back to the 429 results. So it's a really simple way to go about it. Another way that a lot of people like playing with the tool is just going in right into finding something that's LEED compliant. I know we don't ever want to say to people that we're doing this, but we go LEED point shopping all the time, or credit shopping. So you go in and say, I'm doing an IDC project in commercial interiors. I'm looking for an indoor environmental quality compliant credit. And I want solutions there. So as we went through this, we went from 250,000 products down to the 3,063 products that are IEQ credit number 7 compliant. Here's all the product categories, to sift through. So if I went into finishes, they'll give me the next subcategory. Here's all the subcategories. Maybe I'm looking for ceilings. Now I've got all the ceilings. Even further refine it by panels or just ceiling grids. And then here's all the data underlying ceilings for building finishes in IDC commercial interiors. So there's 153 that have bio-preferred, 772 that are declared, 868 that have EPDs, 40 that are FSC, 686 that have an HPD, 568 that are healthy or hospital compliant, and about 496 that are green guard. So as you kind of further refine your search, now it's just coming down to 762. And this is kind of where having a brand filter might be great. In this case, this Armstrong Ceilings has all these products. So here you can go dive into that. It's not only going to have all this other data for you, hyperlinks back to a carbon footprint calculation, verified for LEED document. But again, all this data has been made possible because this manufacturer really wanted to make it easy for you to do your work. And if I like this product, I can just say, oh, I like it. I don't need any more data. I'm just going to put it into my project, which I had already pulled up, and I can just as quickly. So what I've done is I've taken all this data, including all these hyperlinks that remain updated. And now that product from Armstrong is just sitting right here, is added to the 18 SKUs. And I just added it right here. I can know that this was the brand new one because the price is 0 and it's a quantity of 1. So here I could say, yep, I love it. 5,000 square feet of it need to go in that atrium. And I'm going to talk to the distributor, but maybe you already know the price is $7.58. Hit save. And now if I want to run those calculations again, it's one click away. I don't have to do any extra work. I can just run the calculation. It takes no effort for me or the team member that I might be having to call, or the team members that usually that LEED scavenger hunt calls out. Another cool feature that is available is that you can just search by category. So if I was looking for finishes and I want to know all the carpet that's might be LEED aligned, so I can just go in here and click carpet. I'll get 19,000 results. And now I can go to product type. I can see every certification active in North America and around the world on eco labels. And then every brand that has compliant carpet is here. So if I went kind of further down the rabbit hole of saying only products that have an EPD and only products that have an LCA, now suddenly I get a little bit less in terms of opportunities. I can then look by EPD kind, product specific or industry wide, what kind of verification. And now my brand list has gotten a lot smaller, a lot tighter. And in every category of brackets, it'll tell me how many products from Shaw are meeting this requirement, how many from Mohawk, how many from J&J, how many from Interface, how many from Bentley Mills. And if I were to go out and start looking at some of these, I'll add it to the comparison. So I'll kind of show you guys what that looks like. So I'm gonna go find a Tarkett product. I wanna go find a Patcraft product. I'll add this to a comparison. I'll uncheck Patcraft and find something from Shaw. I'll add this to a comparison. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the product pictures to load. There's 800,000 of them, so it's a little wonky if you're used to getting your information quickly. I'll find this Interface. I'll find the universal fibers. I already did Tarkett. Let's see if there's anything else. Let's see, Mannington. I'll do Mannington. So I'll find Mannington. I'll add this to a comparison. So very quickly, you'll see this light blue circle go around the baseball card. And up here, I'll go view comparison. And one of the coolest things is I used to have to do all this in spreadsheets and try to look at a bunch of brochures and kind of keep it up to date. Here, all the data is racked and stacked against all the known variables. And not every manufacturer has given us the variables, but here, this information across 6 manufacturers is just side by side. Some of them have green label plus, some do not. Only one of them has cradle to cradle. They all have EPDs because that was our major filter that we used. One of them has LBC red list. 3 of them have NSF 140, 1 at gold, 2 at platinum. Here's some recycled content data for 2 of them. But very, very quickly, I can get that information. And before I had this platform for myself, it would take me the better part of 2 afternoons to go find this data. What's really cool about the way that our search system works is I'm going to grab this URL at the top and I'm going to share it with everybody in chat. And what you guys will see is that every one of you guys will have access to those results and you could just share it out. So a lot of young designers I find are doing that and then sharing it out over Slack or whatever kind of social media channels that they're doing and saying, hey, I just found a bunch of things that have EPDs. What does everyone think? You know, do we have to only do things that are maybe green label or cradle to cradle certified? So they might look at some of this data and just say, okay, I want to take some of these out because they don't meet the level that my client said that was really, really important to them. They're all still an EPD, but I really like the one that's red list approved. So I can constantly refine that. And as you guys do that, you can say, okay, now to the client meeting, grab that URL and I'll share the secondary URL. All of you guys have access to exactly what I just found. And then they can take it from there. So if they want to put it into one of their projects, you know, younger designers are working a lot smarter than harder. So I find that as an old guy, I sometimes go, wow, it's a really innovative way to use the system to their advantage. But again, all this information is available to you, including if you need to do some responsible, you know, review, you can actually just grab that hyperlink right from the comparison window and go make sure, you know, it's everything that you wanted from a documentation standpoint. So I'll go back and let's see, what else do I need to show you guys? So another way we kind of talked about looking for categories and what's available in a category. People also search in the other direction. They'll go, I'm looking for a product that has C2C and then what category. So now you can see, okay, there's 4,000 products that are cradle to cradle. How many are in maybe construction materials? So you can go kind of down a little bit of a rabbit hole and go, well, what products are out there? Building insulation, cement and concrete, countertops. Well, that's kind of cool. Let me go check out the countertops that are C2C. So with 1 click, I'll get to all these countertops that are C2C. And maybe I love this amber pearl. That's pretty cool. They're a B Corp. They have all these extended things. They're cradle to cradle. They have an HPD. They have high recycled content. Love it. Let's go put it into my project. Just go in there, grab that project, hit save. And now all this data is in there without you having to go build another tool. And now we went from 19 products to 20 products. And here's that ice stone amber pulse. All that data without you doing any work, without having a crazy document mess on your desktop, like my desktop looks like right now. You can just go in there, put in the price, hit evaluate, hit save, and now that product gets added to the mix, and your LEED product score probably has just gone up because you grabbed something that had multiple elements of it. And again, all right there for you to do at the ready. The last two things I'll show you is just how lighting and plumbing products can give you an ROI. So if I went in here and looked for lighting, go to category, go to lighting and ceiling fans, hit a subcategory, I'll call it light fixtures, and then I'll go grab this first light, attain light. There's some information here, and then there's a little ROI chart. So if I was going to use this product in a project, I have 100 of them, and I'm going to spend, say, $75 on that product. It uses 40 watts. That's coming from DLC. Its wattage on the baseline is 274. And I want to do a 5-year analysis. What it will do is actually just do the documentation for me. The cheap one is only going to be $15. Mine is going to cost $75. But based on 12 hours a day of operation and a 5-year analysis, this will break even as a result in January of 2023. And over the course of those 5 years of analysis, I'll save the project team $53,000 in pure energy savings. So we drive the energy savings off of that usage number. So 6,000 kilowatts a month, 73,000 a year, and then 366 over 5 years. If I do a 3-year payback, I automatically will get redone numbers. And all this information is powered by the tool that came from Energy Star. If this was a 24-hour facility like a hospital, the ROI just strengthens and becomes a lot shorter. If this was maybe a school and it was only operating 8 hours a day, it'll be a little longer. And I even have advanced options. I can go in there and say, how many days a week is it operational and how many weeks out of the year? So if it was a school, I can adjust this down to 40 and now just further pushes back that stuff. So there's a lot of nice, very lightweight. It's not meant to be engineering analysis, but it's a lightweight way of saying, if I knew that this was Energy Star or Water Sense, how can I make sense of that data and be able to present it to my client? And then finally, I'll show you the last thing on plumbing. Very similar calculation. Everything that's in Energy Star and Water Sense is in our platform. So if I said, I love this toilet, I'm going to use it in a project, all the data comes in from Water Sense or Energy Star. And then here I just say, same thing, 5-year analysis. There's 200 people in my building that are male and female. And then my water rate in Southwest Florida is $15 per 1,000 gallons. The cheap toilet's $3.50. The more expensive Toto is $5.97. I can always change this data, and then it'll just show me immediately what the water savings would be worth. If I wanted to do a longer analysis, I could just change that. The graph changes as you change the data. If that toilet that I was comparing it to was only $200, it'll just delay the ROI and make it a little bit longer to get that payback. But ultimately, that's a pretty good ROI. You spend a little less than $200 extra on the better toilets, but this is only one. So if I did this and said there's 50 toilets, then now the water savings might not break even, but the 500,000 gallons is still something that we might want to report. So if that delta was really 600 to 200, then it might be a payback that takes longer. If I wanted to see when the exact payback is, I can just go out to 10 years and then have the system show me that it's going to happen in August of 2028. August of 2020, I can't even say the number, 2028. So there's that for analysis. So I'll stop and answer any questions you guys might have. How often are these specs updated? As you know, there have been a long lead times and supply chain issues. So this data is always being updated on a monthly basis. So all the certification, the eco-label data you see here is coming in from those data sources on a monthly basis. So if I go in here and I click on the Energy Star data point, it's right here. I hover over it, it'll tell you that this was last updated on 6/23. If you're worried about a project that's already been bought and you've bought those things, what you can do is just go grab that PDF and just print it off or grab it and screenshot it when you have it. And then that way, even if the data comes out, at least this was correct as of the date that you ordered it. That is something that a lot of manufacturers are having to do. Same thing with a project. If you have a project that's already in place, just go in there and grab it and just run the calculation. So if you go open up one of your projects and you're worried, you've already finished it, but it might take you a year to do certification, just go in here, run the calculation and hit evaluate. And when you get that evaluation capitalized, you just download it as a PDF. And again, nobody's ever kicked back. This is more detailed documentation than I ever had at my disposal when I was doing this consulting work. So I don't think you're going to have a problem with people kicking back when you give them a data report that's not only LEED specific at the project level, but every single one of the updated cut sheets behind that have this level of granularity. I mean, most LEED reviewers never get this level of data, especially consolidated. It's usually spread out over a couple of different LEED online forms. This is all organized. And again, this data point inside of here, can't really see it, but when I hover over this part of the PDF, it knows that it's a dynamic link and I can go right from there and it'll download that ToxNot certificate for me. So now that declare label just popped up on my other screen, but here it is. There's no other platform out there that lets you not only put it all into a project, but also have all those active hyperlinks baked into the process. So that was a great question. Thank you, Joanna. Are there any other things, if you guys want to unmute yourselves, we still have about 15 minutes. So I want to make sure I can cover any questions you guys might have to make sure we address it. Come on, someone's got to cover a question. If you don't give me questions, I'm going to give you another poll. Hopefully that's okay. I'll do a post presentation poll while you guys are thinking up some questions. So I'll launch that poll. Love to know on a scale of 1 to 4 how impactful this platform will be for your work on LEED projects. We share this data back with the USBC and ourselves, so it's really, really important. How much time do you think this platform will save you when working on a LEED project? And then would you recommend the ecomedes platform to a colleague or an industry partner? We'd love to get that feedback. We're trying to build a platform that helps the buyers, helps the project teams, and helps the brands, because you all are kind of in this data scavenger hunt together. Brands want to get credit for all the great work that they've done in certifications. Project teams want to find that data quickly so they can get credit with their project owners. And project owners really are trying to put better products into their buildings so that buildings improve in scores. I'm sure you guys have seen all the ESG stuff. The big ESG driver for buildings is called GRESB. And many of the things that GRESB align building developers, owners, and large institutional owners of real estate are all trying to do is figure out how green are their buildings. And it really starts really at the ingredient level. You have to look at, are all my lights LED? Are all my refrigeration units optimized? Are all my flooring products got, transparency and off-gassing certificates? So imagine like looking for all that data at those 3 levels. We tried to build a platform that kind of addresses it and makes it easy for folks. So thank you for participating in the poll. We're over 60%, so that's great. I'll give you guys another minute, but if you have any questions, please unmute yourself. Love to hear you guys live. Sometimes doing a webinar is like talking to blank screen of lots of little names. So love to help you guys. If your firm would like to have a training like this during like a shred or a kickoff, we can do a half-hour training for any of your firms that you guys want. All that we ask is, get more than 5 people on the 30-minute call. I'd love to show you how to build an account, go through stuff. You have examples like, hey, show us how to go find carpet or furniture or all interior products or all plumbing products. We'd be happy to kind of do a quick demo, show you guys how to build an account, and then get that data in front of yourselves. So thank you so much for the poll. It seems like you guys are very, very excited to maybe use the platform, be impactful, save some hours on projects, and then recommendation, that would be great. And if there's anything else that could be done in the platform to make it better, to make you guys want to recommend it, love to hear what that is, so we can always put it on our design board to make the platform more usable and more shareable in the marketplace. So I don't see any other questions coming in. If you guys want to send it to me privately, I'll send you guys all an email later today or tomorrow with all the information about the CU and the video. So feel free to just send me back a direct email saying, hey, I'd love it to do this. Can you show me this? How does this work? We just want more people using this tool so more people can do better projects and find product data quicker and faster. So I don't see anything else. It's free to use. Please go to the platform. It doesn't take more than like 2 seconds to create an account. We don't hit you up with spam or anything like that. We're not taking your data and selling it to people. We just want you guys to use the platform, make projects, make it easier on yourselves, and then tell us if there's other functionality and features you guys are looking for. The Materials for LEED platform is one of our many platforms. We have another one called products.ecomedes.com. That one has all the rating systems all under one roof. So it's like not just for LEED, it's for any certification rating system. So USGBC, WELL, IFLI, Green Globes. We also have a version if you do private work for the federal government. We have SF Tool, which is all the federal guidance for all federal buildings. They have 300,000 buildings under operation with 300 million square feet. This is basically a curated view, like their version of Whole Foods, but for green building products. So this is like for federal green products. The products is like everything under the sun that's green, with any rating system kind of being all Switzerland. And then the USGBC version is just for LEED V4 and V41, with only the products that meet the certifications and eco labels that are called out for in LEED. So all of them have different utilizations, but they're all basically organized the same. And as soon as you create one account, you can log in. Your projects do stay within the domain that you've created the work on. So the USGBC projects will be only on this site. If you create a project on products.ecomedes.com, it can be evaluated against any rating system within the system. And then for federal clients, obviously that's for federal projects you're working on. So however you want to take a look at it, it's all available to you. And all the data is synchronized. So if you're on one of the platforms, everything from a certain brand will be the same. So we synchronize and syndicate data across the board. And then we have clients that have our entire platform behind their firewall. So like Miller Knoll has their entire product catalog from all the brands that they operate. It's the same data. So if you ever get sent to one of their sites or USG or Certainty or Interface, they all have the same data on the USGBC site. There's no difference. It's just sometimes they want to have their own conversations, and then they have things like buy online and contact a rep, which are really nice features. If you ever need to get something out of them really quickly, you can actually see which ones are quick shippable and available to buy. So we also do that for manufacturers if you ever are interested. So with that, I will end the meeting. Again, feel free to send me an email or text directly. Thank you guys so much for the time and effort today. You guys will get this email from me with the video tomorrow, and have a great weekend. Bye, everyone.